You know that feeling when you eat something sugary or processed and you get this immediate rush of pleasure, and then an hour later you feel anxious, tired, and somehow worse than before? That's not a coincidence. And if you are someone who already eats pretty well, maybe you're mostly plant-based, you are trying to do the right things, but you still feel stressed and overwhelmed. I want to talk to you today about something that most people completely overlook. The food that you eat has a direct line to how you feel mentally, not just physically, but mentally. Hi, I'm Nadia, and I help women eat plant-based for energy, longevity, and hormone health. Today, I'm sharing 5 specific plant foods that actually help with stress and anxiety and why they work. So, a few months ago, one of my members asked me a really good question. She wanted to know if there are specific foods that can help with stress. I thought I knew the answer, but the question stayed with me. So I went deeper into the gut brain connection, the microbiome, serotonin, and what I found was so fascinating. Most of us think of stress management as meditation, exercise, maybe journaling, and those things are great and they matter. And I'll get to that as well. But food is a piece of the puzzle that does not get nearly enough attention. So, here's what most women actually do when they feel stressed or anxious. They doom scroll, they turn on Netflix, they reach for something sweet or salty for that quick hit of comfort. And I get it. Those things feel good in the moment. They kind of drown out the noise, but they don't help. And oftentimes they actually make things worse. The crash that you get after the sugar, the guilt after the mindless scrolling because, you just wasted 2 hours, those things add to your anxiety. They don't reduce it. So, what actually works? Before I go into the 5 foods, here is the one thing that I want you to understand. So, your gut and your brain are in constant communication, as you can see here. And about 90% of your body serotonin, your feel good neurotransmitter, is actually produced in your gut. So, when your gut is healthy, your mood tends to follow, and that is the gut brain connection. And these 5 foods actually feed it. So, when you feed your gut well and you're feeding your mood, your calm, and your ability to handle stress. So let's actually get right into the foods. Lentils are actually one of the most fiber-rich foods that you can eat. Fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut. When those bacteria are well fed, they produce chemicals that signal your brain to feel calmer and more balanced. Lentils are also rich in folate, which supports mood regulation. So I will add them to soups, to salads, to grain bowls. They are one of the most versatile things in my kitchen. Food number 2 are beans. So it's the same idea. Things like foods like chickpeas, black beans, white beans, they're all packed with fiber and also magnesium. So a lot of women are low in magnesium without even knowing it. And low magnesium is directly linked to higher anxiety and stress. So if you are not eating beans regularly, this is one of the easiest additions that you can make. Food number 3 is sauerkraut or kimchi. So these are fermented foods, which means they are full of live probiotics, the good bacteria that your gut needs to thrive. So you only need a small amount, maybe, a few forkfuls, a tablespoon a day is enough. I love adding sauerkraut to a bowl or just having it on the side of a meal. The next thing is plant-based yogurts. So it is another probiotic rich food. Coconut, almond, oat-based, soy-based, these all give you the same gut supporting benefit, but in a form that is easy to add to breakfast or a smoothie. Just look for the one that says live and active cultures on the label. That is what you're going to want to buy. And then food number 5 are leafy greens. So foods like spinach, kale, Swiss chard. Leafy greens are rich in antioxidants. that reduce inflammation in the body. And inflammation and anxiety are actually closely connected. They are also high in magnesium, folate, and B vitamins, all of which support your nervous system and help regulate your stress response. So I basically have a smoothie every single day. And so I will put a number of different greens in there. Sometimes I'll just throw in some spring mix because it has a number of greens in it. But you can also, if you're new to smoothies, you can just do some spinach. But I would say also add some of the foods that are rich in antioxidants, like berries, wild blueberries, strawberries, add some ground flaxseed in it. There are a lot of different ways that you can incorporate leafy greens into your diet, and it is really one of the easiest habits that I have. So now I want to say something important. Food is powerful, but it is one part of a bigger picture. So the research also shows that movement, even a short walk, and mindfulness practices have a real impact on stress and anxiety. So these things work together. What you eat, how you move, how you rest, it is not just one thing. So if you feel like you were doing everything right and still struggling, it might be time to look at the whole picture, not just one piece of it. I also wanted to show you when it comes to processed foods and how this affects your mood. We talked about it earlier, but just a little bit of a graphic on how processed foods will, you'll get that spike, but then you'll get a steep crash as well. Versus plant foods, some of the foods that we've talked about today will give you that steady compound rise. And that is what you are going after. And that's what you want. You want to incorporate plant-based habits that reduce the crashes over a lifetime. And if you want to keep going with this, I have a free community on Skool where I share plant-based tips, recipes, and support for women who want to feel their best. No pressure to join, but I'll put the link below. And I hope that this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I will see you soon. Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe.